She told me, "You're not enough for me. I need more." Months later, she begged me to save her from her drug dealer boyfriend. I hung up and walked away. When I met Rachel, I was 34 and convinced that maybe, finally, life was settling down. We lived in Chicago, the kind of city where everyone is always rushing: jobs, dreams, rent, traffic. But with her, I thought I had found a place to breathe. She was bright, full of energy, and she had this way of making me feel like I was the only one in the room. For a while, that was enough. We went out, laughed about little things, cooked dinner together in her apartment. It felt normal in the best possible way. But as weeks turned into months, I started noticing the small things. The comments didn't sound like compliments. The way her tone shifted when she talked about wanting more out of life. I brushed it off at first, telling myself all couples hit those phases where one person feels restless. Then one night, without warning, she looked me straight in the eye and said words that I still hear sometimes when it's quiet. "You're not enough for me. You don't satisfy me. I need more than what you give." I just sat there. I didn't even know how to answer. Not enough? What does that even mean? I had been showing up. I spent time with her, cared for her, made sure she knew she mattered. And in that moment, it felt like none of it counted. I tried to ask what she meant. She shrugged, like it was obvious, and said, "You're too simple, too predictable. You don't make me feel alive." Alive. That word stung. It was like she had rehearsed it, like she'd been waiting to let it out. I sat there for a long time, letting the silence hang between us. The truth was, I could have argued with her, begged her to see what I was trying to give. But something inside me stopped. If she couldn't see value in what we had, then no amount of convincing was going to change her mind. That night, I made a choice I didn't think I'd ever have to make. I blocked her number. I unfollowed her on social media. I cut off every line she could use to reach me. It wasn't about punishing her. It was about protecting myself. And it hurt. It hurt more than I let anyone know. Friends asked about her, and I just shrugged, saying things didn't work out. I didn't talk about the way her words dug into me, or how I replayed them over and over in my head. "You're not enough." That sentence became the echo I carried for months. I poured my time into other things, meeting up with friends, trying new hobbies, even picking up old ones I had left behind. It wasn't easy. There were nights where I almost unblocked her just to hear her voice again, but I didn't. I knew if I did, I'd fall right back into that cycle of doubt. Slowly, I started to move forward. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. I convinced myself she was gone for good, and maybe that was the best thing for both of us. And then, late one night, everything I thought was behind me came crashing back. My phone lit up with a number I didn't recognize. Something in my gut told me not to answer, but against my better judgment, I swiped. Her voice came through the line, shaky, fast, nothing like the woman who once looked at me with so much certainty. And just like that, Rachel was back in my life, bringing with her a storm I didn't ask for. It was close to midnight when I picked up the phone. I didn't recognize the number, but the second I heard the voice, I knew. "James, it's me. Please, you have to help me." "Rachel." For a moment, I didn't even answer. I just sat there with the phone pressed to my ear, listening to her breath on the other end. Months had passed since I cut her out, and now, out of nowhere, she was calling me. Her voice was frantic. "My boyfriend, he tried to plant drugs in my bag. The cops are after me. I don't know what to do. Please, you're the only one I can trust." The irony of it almost made me laugh. The same woman who told me I wasn't enough was now begging me to save her. I thought back to that night, her words like knives, telling me I didn't satisfy her, that I wasn't exciting, that she needed more. And now here she was, drowning in the chaos she chose for herself. I let the silence stretch out before I spoke. My voice was steady, almost cold. "I thought I wasn't enough, Rachel. Remember? You said you needed more. Well, it looks like you got it. More chaos, more drama, more pain. And now you want me to fix it." Her voice cracked, softer this time. "Please, James. I made a mistake. He's dangerous. I don't know what he'll do to me." For a second, I almost felt it, the old pull to step in, to help, to be the safe place she once had. But the memory of her words was louder than her plea. I cut her off. "No, you chose this life, and you told me I wasn't enough. So figure it out without me." And before she could respond, I ended the call. I sat there staring at my phone, my hand tied around it. I wasn't shaking out of fear. I was shaking from the finality of it. For months, I had carried her words like a weight. And in that moment, I realized something. Walking away from her wasn't just about self-respect. It was survival. Rachel had already dragged me down once with her judgment and her hunger for something she could never name. If I let her back in, she'd pull me into her storm, and I wasn't willing to live like that anymore. That night, I slept better than I had in months. Not because I was glad she was suffering. Not because I wanted revenge. But because I finally understood, sometimes the best revenge isn't shouting or proving a point or getting even. Sometimes the best revenge is silence. And so, I gave her silence. In the days that followed, I kept thinking about the call, the desperation in her voice, the fear. Part of me wondered if she really was in danger, if maybe she needed help. But another part of me knew this was the same cycle repeating itself, her chasing excitement, me picking up the pieces. This time, I wasn't going to be the one cleaning up her mess. Rachel wanted more, and she got it. I couldn't be the solution to problems she had chosen to create. For the first time since the breakup, I felt like I had control again. I had drawn a line, and I wasn't going to cross it. At least, that's what I thought. Because as much as I tried to convince myself she was gone for good, life has a strange way of testing your choices. And Rachel wasn't finished showing up in mine. After that midnight call, I thought I was done with Rachel for good. Hanging up on her gave me something close to closure. She had made her choice, and I had made mine. But life doesn't always leave things that neat. A week later, I was catching up with a friend, Ethan. He knew Rachel and me had split, but didn't know the details. Out of nowhere, he leaned in and asked, "Hey, have you heard about Rachel?" I shook my head. "She's in trouble, man. Something about her boyfriend and drugs. It's all over social media." I kept my face calm, but when I got home, curiosity got the better of me. I opened up Facebook, then Instagram. And there it was, Rachel's name tied to posts, whispers, screenshots. People said her boyfriend had been caught trying to set her up. Some claimed she was mixed up in a small-time drug ring. Others said she was just a pawn. Either way, her reputation was in pieces. And that's when the messages started. She couldn't text or call since I had her blocked everywhere. So she turned to email. Long paragraphs, half apologies, half pleas. She said she realized how badly she had treated me. She said I was the only man who ever respected her. She said she felt abandoned and scared. At first, I ignored them. But the emails kept coming. Every night, another wall of text in my inbox. Some were almost word for word the same. Apologies, regrets, asking me to just talk. Then one night, a different one came through. Shorter, sharper. "James, if you don't help me, I don't know if I'll make it. I don't know what he'll do to me." That line sat with me. For a split second, guilt tried to creep in. Maybe I was being too harsh. Maybe she really was scared for her life. But then I thought back. I saw her face when she told me I wasn't enough. I remembered the way she dismissed me, like I was nothing more than a placeholder until something more exciting came along. She had mocked the loyalty I gave freely, and now she wanted it back only because her choices turned on her. No, I couldn't let her pull me into this. So I left the email unanswered. Days turned into another week. The emails didn't stop, but they grew messier, more desperate, sometimes just a few lines, sometimes entire essays. She swung between apologies and blame. One night, she wrote, "You always said you'd be there for me. Was that a lie? Or were you just waiting for me to fall so you could feel good about walking away?" I stared at that line longer than I care to admit. But in the end, I closed my laptop without replying. Because deep down, I knew this wasn't about love, or respect, or even me. This was about her not wanting to face the fallout of her own decisions. She wanted a way out, and I was the safest option she could think of. But I couldn't go back. I had barely pulled myself out of the hole she left me in the first time. Getting involved again would only drag me down deeper. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that fate wasn't done testing me. Because ignoring her emails was one thing. But fate had other plans. And the next time I saw Rachel, it wasn't on a screen. It was face to face. 2 weeks later, I walked into my regular coffee shop before work. It was the place I always went to clear my head. The last thing I expected was to see Rachel sitting there. Her hair was messy, her eyes carried dark circles, and her clothes looked like she had stopped caring. The confident woman who once told me I wasn't enough was nowhere to be found. The moment she saw me, she shot up from her seat and walked straight over. "James, please, just hear me out." People turned to look, and I thought about walking right back out the door. But something made me stay. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was the look of someone who had been broken down by her own choices. I sat down, arms crossed, keeping my distance. She wasted no time. The words spilled out of her like she had been rehearsing them. She told me how her boyfriend had turned violent, how he had tried to drag her into his mess with the drugs, how everyone she thought was her friend abandoned her when things went bad. And then came the part one was expecting. "I miss you. You were always safe, always steady." I didn't realize what I had until I lost it. I let her talk. I didn't interrupt. I wanted her to get it all out. When she finally stopped, I leaned forward, my voice calm but firm. "Rachel, you didn't just lose me. You threw me away. You told me I wasn't enough, remember? You chose excitement over loyalty. And now, when that excitement destroyed you, you want the stability back. But that's not how this works." Her eyes filled with tears. "So that's it. You're just going to leave me like this? I shook my head. No, Rachel. You left yourself like this. I didn't ruin your life. I didn't put you in danger. I was willing to build something real with you, and you spit on it. You made your choice. Now you live with it. I stood up, grabbed my coffee, and walked out. She didn't follow. On the way back to my car, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Clarity. Seeing her like that didn't make me want her back. It made me realize how close I had come to being destroyed right alongside her. If I had stayed with her, I could have been dragged into the same mess. The cops, the drugs, the chaos. She wouldn't have thought twice about pulling me under. That night, I lay in bed replaying the coffee shop conversation in my head. The sadness was there, yes, but so was relief. Relief that I had finally said out loud what I needed to say. Relief that I hadn't caved. Rachel was no longer the woman I met months ago. That version of her, the charming, ambitious, magnetic one, was gone. What I saw today was the result of chasing more without ever being satisfied with enough. And as much as she wanted me to be her lifeline, I knew I couldn't. Not anymore. Because being with someone who tells you that you're not enough is the fastest way to lose yourself. And I wasn't about to lose myself again. I closed my eyes that night, grateful for one thing, walking away when I did. Weeks passed after the coffee shop. The messages from Rachel didn't stop right away, but they slowed. At first, she still sent long emails, apologies, regrets, desperate explanations. Then they grew shorter, more scattered. The last one I ever read was just one line. I hope one day you forgive me. I'll never forgive myself. I didn't reply. Instead, I kept moving forward. I started dating again, carefully this time. Nothing serious at first, just dinners, walks, conversations with people who didn't make me feel like I had to prove my worth. I focused on my own life, picked up painting again, something I had loved years ago but abandoned when life got too busy. And for the first time in a long time, I felt free. Rachel, on the other hand, faded out of my world. Some people said she left town. Others whispered she was trying to start over somewhere else, maybe in another state. I didn't check. I didn't ask. The truth is, it didn't matter. Because what I finally understood was this. Love isn't about being enough for someone who is always chasing more. Love is about two people choosing each other every day, even when life is messy, even when the excitement fades. Rachel never chose me. She chose herself. She chose the thrill of something new, something dramatic, something that looked better in the moment. And when it all collapsed, she came running back, hoping I'd be the safe place I once was. But that's not love. That's desperation. When she begged me for help, and I turned away, it wasn't about cruelty. It was about survival. I knew if I went back, I'd drown in her chaos. And I wasn't willing to lose myself again just to save someone who had once told me I wasn't enough. The harsh truth is this. When someone says you're not enough, what they really mean is they'll never be satisfied, no matter who they're with. Because if loyalty, effort, and care aren't enough, then nothing ever will be. And the best thing you can do in that moment? Walk away and never look back. That's what I did. Today, my life isn't perfect, but it's mine. It's not tied to someone else's drama or built on constant comparisons. I wake up each day knowing I chose peace over chaos, stability over destruction. And that choice has made all the difference. As for Rachel, wherever she is, I hope she figures herself out. I hope she finds whatever more she was chasing. But I also know it's not my responsibility anymore. Because sometimes the hardest part about letting go is realizing that not everyone you love is meant to stay. And sometimes the most freeing part of moving on is finally believing you deserve better. So, I closed that chapter, and I never reopened it. I appreciate you watching till the end. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more content.